when I say this guy, I'm talking about President Trump, is such a good friend and such a loyal, amazing guy, man.
I just hate that. I get it. You want your clicks or whatever it is you guys want to get, your little moment that you can post, but
picture this, a packed press conference, cameras flashing, and Dana White looking like he's about to explode. A journalist asks him about cancel culture, and the room goes dead silent. What happened next left everyone speechless. Dana's response wasn't just a comeback, it was a full-on declaration of war against what he calls the woke mob. And we've got it all on tapes. So Dana White strolls into this press conference, and you can tell right away he's not messing around. The guy's got this look on his face like he's ready to throw down with anyone who steps out of line. And sure enough, some reporter decides to poke the bear. This journalist starts rambling on about how Dana supposedly gives his fighters a long leash to say whatever they want.
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash?
like
free speech.
Now, most CEOs would probably start stammering and backpedaling, trying to smooth things over. Not Dana. He's not about that life. He looks this reporter dead in the eye and says, I don't give anybody a leash. These guys can say whatever they want.
Question.
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash.
Boom, just like that. No sugarcoating, no PR spin, just pure, unfiltered Dana White. You gotta wonder, is this just Dana being his usual brash self, or is there something more to it? Turns out this isn't some one-off thing. Dana's been defending his fighters' right to speak their minds for years now. Remember when Conor McGregor was running his mouth non-stop, saying all kinds of wild stuff? Dana had his back then, too. He didn't try to shut Conor up or make him apologize. He let the man talk, for better or worse. And it's not just the big stars either. Dana's got this same approach with pretty much all his fighters. He's not out here trying to control what they say or how they act. He lets them be themselves, no matter how controversial that might be.
Gonna tell people what to believe? Gonna tell people? I don't tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes.
But here's the thing, Dana doesn't seem to care if people like this approach or not. He's not out here trying to win a popularity contest. When reporters or fans criticize him for not reining in his fighters, he just shrugs it off. Why doesn't Dana White care if you like him or not? It's simple. He knows that in today's world, you can't please everyone. The minute you start trying to make everyone happy, you end up making no one happy. So instead of playing that game, Dana's just focused on running his business the way he sees fit. And let's be real, it's working for him. The UFC's bigger than ever, and a big part of that is because of the personalities Dana lets shine through. Love him or hate him, you gotta admit, the guy's got a strategy, and he's sticking to it. You think Dana's tough on his opponents in the ring? That's nothing compared to how he handles the media. Just when you thought you'd seen all his moves, he's got a whole new playbook for dealing with what he calls the woke mob. But is he fighting a losing battle? Here's the deal, these journalists are always sniffing around for drama. They're like sharks circling the UFC, waiting for a fighter to slip up so they can pounce. It's like they've got this weird obsession with painting UFC fighters as the bad guys of the sports world. But Dana, he's not having any of it. He sees right through their game, and he's calling it out for what it is. To him, this whole woke culture thing is just a bunch of bullies trying to control what people can and can't say. And let me tell you, Dana White doesn't do well with bullies.
After the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, I don't give a what the media says about it. They don't matter.
You know who else is on Dana's wavelength? Guys like Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan. They're all sick and tired of this politically correct nonsense. Dana's been watching how these guys handle the heat, and he's taking notes. He's seen how they stand their ground, refuse to apologize for jokes or opinions, and guess what? Their fans love them for it. So Dana's taking a page out of their book. He's not backing down, not even an inch.
I just hate that. I get it. You want your clicks or whatever it is you guys want to get, your little moment that you can post, but
when these journalists try to stir up controversy, Dana shuts them down hard. He's called them out as high school bullies and made it clear he's not playing their game. He doesn't dance around issues or try to smooth things over. Nope. He hits back twice as hard. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this strategy actually working for the UFC? I mean, you'd think all this controversy would be bad for business, right? Well, think again. The UFC is bigger than ever. Turns out a lot of fans are loving Dana's no BS approach. They're tired of sanitized corporate speak too. They want real personalities, real drama, and Dana's serving it up in spades. And how does Dana shut down these media attempts to create controversy? Simple. He calls them out on their BS. He doesn't let them twist words or take things out of context. If a journalist tries to spin something a fighter said into a big deal, Dana's right there to set the record straight. He's not afraid to tell a reporter they're full of it, right to their face.
I will attack you if you do that. You know what I mean? It just causes a lot of bull.
It's like Dana's got this force field around the UFC. He's letting his fighters be themselves, say what they want, and he's taking all the heat for it. And you know what? It's working. The more these woke journalists try to take Dana down, the more his fans rally around him. So yeah, Dana White might be fighting the woke mob, but from where I'm sitting, it looks like he's winning. He's proving that you don't have to play by their rules to succeed. In fact, sometimes breaking those rules is exactly what people want to see. Hollywood's golden rule. Don't touch Trump with a 10-foot pole. But Dana White? He's giving Trump a full-on bear hug. You'd think this would be career suicide, right? Well, hold on to your hats, because what Dana says next is gonna make your jaw hit the floor. Dana White and Donald Trump go way back. We're talking about a friendship that started when UFC was just a baby. Most big shots in entertainment would rather eat glass than be seen with Trump these days. But Dana, he doesn't give a rat's ass what people think. He's out there singing Trump's praises like it's nobody's business.
When I say this guy, I'm talking about President Trump, is such a good friend and such a loyal, amazing guy, man. I don't give a
The liberals probably watch.
if you don't like me
Right.
because I'm friends with this guy, that's your problem, not mine.
Dana's been calling Trump such a good friend and such a loyal, amazing guy. That's not the kind of thing you hear from celebrities these days, is it? Most of them are too busy trying to stay on the good side of the Twitter mob. But here's the kicker. Dana's not just saying nice things about Trump, he's going full throttle, telling everyone who'll listen that he doesn't care what they think about his friendship with the former president. In his own words, I could give a fuck if you don't like me because I'm friends with this guy. That's your problem, not mine.
You know,
You're not worried about losing any viewers for over your friendship with the president.
I could give it.
Right.
Now that's what I call standing by your friends. You gotta wonder though, is this hurting UFC's brand? I mean, half the country hates Trump's guts, right? Turns out Dana's got a pretty interesting take on that. He thinks all this controversy might actually be good for business. Yeah, you heard that right. While everyone else is running scared from anything remotely controversial, Dana's leaning into it. And get this, the UFC's not just surviving, it's thriving. Fans are eating up Dana's no BS attitude. It's like he's giving the middle finger to cancel culture, and people are loving it. He's proving that you don't have to play by the rules of the woke mob to be successful.
You know, I don't ever want to see a day where somebody who is a biological male is competing against my daughter.
But here's the real kicker. When journalists try to stir up trouble about Dana's Trump connection, you know what he does? He doubles down. He's not apologizing, he's not backtracking. Nope, he's going on the offensive. He told these woke journalists, I don't give a fuck what the media says about it. They don't matter. Can you believe that? In a world where everyone's walking on eggshells, afraid to say the wrong thing, Dana White's out here telling the media they don't matter. It's like he's living in a different universe, one where you can actually say what you think without fear of being canceled. So what's the lesson here? Maybe it's that staying true to yourself and your friends is more important than trying to please everyone. Or maybe it's that people are sick of fake PR-managed celebrities and they're craving some real talk. Whatever it is, Dana White's proving that you can be friends with the most controversial guy in America and still come out on top.
Israel was saying over and over, yeah. Dropping
He's
about
black.
50 N-bombs.
Okay, he's black. Who gives a
So Dana White's letting his fighters run wild with their words, and everyone's wondering if he's some kind of free speech superhero or just a guy who hates being told what to do. Either way, he's shaking things up big time in the sports world. Check this out. While other sports leagues are putting muzzles on their athletes, the UFC is going full steam ahead in the opposite direction. Dana's basically handed his fighters a megaphone and said, go nuts. It's like he's daring them to stir up trouble. But here's the million-dollar question. How long can this free-for-all last? What happens when a fighter finally crosses that line? You know it's coming. Some hothead's gonna say something so wild, even Dana might have to step in. Or will he? Some folks think Dana's playing with fire here. They're all like, he's gonna get burned one of these days. But others, they're calling him a champion of free speech. They're saying he's standing up to all this cancel culture nonsense. And let's be real, the rest of the sports world is watching this whole thing go down. They're probably thinking, is this guy crazy or is he onto something? Cause let's face it, most leagues are running scared these days. They're so worried about offending someone, they've got their athletes reading from scripts. But not Dana. He's out here letting his fighters say pretty much whatever pops into their heads. It's like he's daring the woke mob to come at him. And you know what? They have. But Dana's not backing down. Yeah, he's made it crystal clear what he thinks about cancel culture and all these so-called woke journalists. In his mind, they're just a bunch of bullies trying to control what people can and can't say. And Dana White, he doesn't play nice with bullies. But here's the thing, it's not just about Dana being a tough guy. This whole free speech thing, it's working for him. The UFC's bigger than ever. Turns out a lot of fans are sick of all this politically correct BS. They want real personalities, real drama, and Dana's serving it up on a silver platter. So what's the end game here? Is Dana White really changing the game when it comes to free speech in sports? Or is he just riding a wave that's gonna come crashing down eventually? One thing's for sure, he's got everyone talking.
I know you say, hey, this is the fight business. People say nasty things, right? But the tension between those two and kind of the racial undertones and all those things, how do you...
What were the racial undertones?
And in Dana's world, that's half the battle. He's proving that you don't have to play by the rules to win. Sometimes breaking those rules is exactly what people want to see. So yeah, Dana White might be fighting the woke mob, but from where I'm sitting, it looks like he's winning. He's showing that you can let your athletes speak their minds and still come out on top. And in a world where everyone's walking on eggshells, that's pretty damn refreshing. So here's the deal with Dana White. The guy's not backing down, and he's not changing for anyone. Love him or hate him, you gotta give it to him. He sticks to his guns. While other sports bosses are running scared, Dana's out here letting his fighters say whatever pops into their heads. And you know what? It's working. But is he right? I mean, sure, it's great for business.
So you don't have any concern about the way the build up, the tension between those two?
I could care less. This is the fight business. Israel Adesanya can say whatever he wants.
The UFC's bigger than ever. Fans are loving all the drama. But what happens when someone finally crosses that line? When a fighter says something so wild, even Dana can't defend it? That's the million-dollar question. At the end of the day, Dana's proving you don't have to play by the rules to win. He's giving the middle finger to cancel culture, and people are eating it up. But is this sustainable? Or is he just riding a wave that's gonna come crashing down? What do you think? Is Dana right to let his fighters run their mouths, or is he playing with fire?